Yo, yo, here with another episode 51 of 3012 in this podcast. Here with the crew, about to have a good podcast. We got some good topics today for you guys. Getting right into it. Last podcast we ended the podcast talking about the play-in. So now we're gonna come in with the play-in results and kind of just give our takes on them. First one we can talk about was probably the most highly anticipated for us. We'll go with the 76ers versus the Heat. How did you feel about that one, Byron?
76ers versus Heat. That was a pretty good game. One of those early 2000s kind of matchups. Very tough, tough nose defense on both ends. With the getting the injury of Jimmy Butler, I was surprised that he even came back to finish the game off. Just toughness of him. I think that it ended up being a knee injury. Great game overall. Went back and forth. I thought the Heat had it for a while. For the first three quarters, they were just dominant and just going with great coaching of Eric Spoelstra and just going through all their plays and just getting buckets actually and stopping the Philly on defense. And then just took over at the end of the game. And B just brought his MVP kind of status into the game and started taking over.
How about you, Brock? How do you feel about that?
I thought the story of the game, because the 76ers started off dominating beginning of that first quarter. When the Heat switched to that zone, that really threw them off their rhythm. I think one point I watched the 76ers had like 8 or 9 turnovers in a row off that Heat zone, and they decided to stay in it for the majority of the rest of the game. And that's what I think, like Byron saying, it was dominating for the mid to end portion of the game. And finally, I think what I was thinking before I made the pick and what I believe y'all based y'all picks on, which was the overall talent, ended up overwhelming the Heat at the end. Jimmy was hurt, and when your star players are hurt down the stretch, your go-to guys at the end of games, it's hard to have success. The 76ers were healthy, the Heat were not healthy, and ultimately that was the difference in the game, in my opinion.
For sure. Definitely agree. Like you said, just to throw some stuff out there, the defense did their job. They held Joel Embiid to 23 points, well below his season average. Tyrese Maxey, 19. Pretty much Nicholas Batum was the savior for the 76ers. He had one of those crazy veteran games that you look for in the playoffs. Like I said, Jimmy Butler getting hurt definitely did influence the game in a big way. You had Tyler Hero, what did he, 9 for 27?
Tough.
Playing game. Yeah, tough. Playing game. Season's pretty much on the line. Can't have that type of performance. You need to come with your A game. But like I said, the Heat grinded it out. They almost pulled it out. So it was definitely a very intriguing and interesting game the whole way through. All right, next we'll keep it in the Eastern Conference. Hawks and Bulls. How'd you feel about that, Brock?
Hawks and Bulls. Well, it kind of played out differently than how I thought it was. The Bulls surprised me with their offensive talent. Kobe White had a great game. DeMar, I feel like he could have played better, but again, the Hawks were doing everything they could to try to prevent him from going off. I thought it was a more entertaining game than I thought it would be because I was saying like I think the Hawks could win convincingly. All the stars showed up to the game. And I think it's what the NBA wanted out of a 9-10 game to still be exciting when you put it on, when you kind of don't expect it to have great ratings, but it still turns out to be this great, compelling game in two major cities as far as markets. But yeah.
Nah, most definitely. Like Brodrick said, very entertaining game. And I think with it being this new format of a play-in style, it's a win or go home kind of thing, or when we fighting for our lives at this point, like kind of style. And it makes it exciting for people to want to watch with those two types of teams. The Bulls played a phenomenal game on offense, like I said, with the outlier kind of game from Kobe White. You got to realize these guys are still NBA players. They can, at any given point, still drop 40, but it ain't going to happen every night due to the system that they play in or due to the style of game that they need to play this specific night. Kobe just got hot, and they needed it. DeMar didn't play his typical game that he normally brings to the forefront, but Kobe stepped up, and the NBA player he is, and he did his job. Hopefully, he can bring that in and that momentum to the next series when they actually seeded. But overall, wonderful game. It's tough for Trae Young being after making the 2020, I believe, conference finals. Now every year since then, first round exit, which is very, very tough. Now with another guy coming in and DeJounte Murray taking over his role, it's going to be very tough. But they played wonderful together. Very tough game played by the Bulls, and they just took it home.
I want to say this real quick before you
Go
go.
ahead.
I want to say we are going to do season previews after the season is officially over. And I think this game was a microcosm of the Hawks, that this core just doesn't work. And maybe they should have made some deals at the trade deadline, but I digress. Back to Chalil.
With the game, I feel like who needed to come out and perform came out and performed pretty much. Murray, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Bogdanovich, like you said in the last video, Brock, he's going to always come out and step his game up in the playoffs, 21 points. Even Clinton Capella, 22 points, 17 rebounds. And then Trae Young, only thing I can really say about him is I feel like he got going a little bit too late. I believe going into the third quarter, something like that, he had 1 point. And then that second half, he put up 21 because he finished with 22. I feel like if he could have got going in the first half, it definitely would have been a different outcome. But then you have Kobe White came and stepped it up, a huge 40-point performance. DeMar DeRozan had 22 points, which I think might be right there for his scoring average. And even with that, he dished out 9 assists, grabbed 6 boards. So he had an all-around good game. And then Nikola Vucevic, his normal production, 24 points, 12 rebounds. That was pretty big as well. I believe it was more of a back and forth game. It was kind of just a game of that what got away from the Hawks. I would say first quarter they couldn't kind of recover from that. But I think it was definitely more of a how I can say it, more of like a stressful situation than the scoreboard showed. Next, we can go with the move on to the Western Conference. Got the Lakers and the Pelicans. I know there's going to be some interesting things said about this game. So whichever one you guys want to go first, all ears.
You go, Byron.
Now go ahead. I want to hear what you guys say.
All right. What a game. What a game. At first, hey, y'all remember Byron said they can get run out the gym. The Pelicans get ran out the gym. But I guess they decided we finna up the ante, and they ran the Lakers all the way back down. It got super stressful at the end. Super stressful. I was like, oh, nah. They about to send the king to the next game, bro. This can't happen like this, bro. I was stressed, especially when I seen Anthony Davis at the line. If y'all been watching since the early days of 32 Minute Podcast, y'all know the things I've been saying about Anthony Davis. It's been downright crazy at times. Go back and watch those videos. But at the end of the day, they pulled it out. And, they set themselves up for a first-round date with a buzzsaw. So we're going to see how it plays out. And it was a great game, though.
Oh, man.
It was, Zion.
Yeah. Wonderful game. Great talent for the youth, from the youthful side of it. The Pelicans, they showed their resilience, fought all the way back in a playoff game that's for their life. With the unfortunate of their star player getting hurt, the game could have been a little different, but we don't go off what ifs. We go off results. And the Lakers played their championship style towards the end. And that's what you need, that last 250 to 2 minutes of the game. If it's close, you need your star players to play their star game, and LeBron and AD down the stretch, did what they needed to do, put the ball in the hoop, defended on the other end, and just stopped the whole flow and played playoff basketball. And they've just been doing this for years. Obviously, LeBron James is the professor at it, whatever you want to call it. He's been there, done that more than anybody ever. So he knows what to do in that moment, and he did what he did his job. AD did his job, stepped up, played big, finished the game, and now they're on to play Denver.
Sure. Said I had the Lakers winning this. Kind of felt like the game was going to get close. I know it was a pretty decent lead the Lakers had second half. Zion, man, Zion just proved as long as he can stay healthy, if he finds that nutritionist and all the help he needs to stay healthy for the season, he's a problem. Nobody in the league can guard him with his size, athleticism, how explosive he is. He's developing that mid-range shot. He showed me a lot, especially with this being, I believe, his first game out of the regular season. The way he just completely took over to kind of will the Pelicans back there. Like you said, if he didn't get hurt, who knows what happens. Basketball, like I said, get well Zion. But it was definitely an entertaining game as well, just to see the little moments of different players taking over. I know CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram have to come hard if they want to get it on to the 8th seed in the playoffs. So, last game. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was just tough, man. Bi was I don't know, man. He looked bad. He looked better the last 3 games compared to this game, and hopefully he just brings it next game because he has no choice to. Because with Zion out, hopefully they can make that seed. I'm just salty a little bit by my pick not winning.
I think he rushed back. Like, I don't think he's healthy because there's no reason, even if he was playing bad, that they sit him down the whole stretch of that game when you need that offense. So I think like he's probably not, 100%. And you got to commend them for at least getting out there and trying. But one thing that Chalil did mention last episode that I'm glad happened was bad CJ McCollum showed up, and we needed him to show up. Like, as fans of, me personally a fan of LeBron, so it's by extension the Lakers. We needed bad CJ McCollum to show up, and he definitely made a great appearance for us. So I appreciate you, CJ, but yeah.
Tough.
Next game, battle in California, Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors.
Battle in the Bay.
About that one? Yeah, how we feel about that one?
No, it went just about how I kind of pictured it. It was a good fight. Everybody that I thought was going to be dominant on each side was Sabonis. They weren't really stopping him. De'Aaron Fox getting up and down the court, and then Curry just doing Curry things, man. He started taking over and just pushing the agenda of like, oh, bro, we need to make it happen now, and really brought them back. Kuminga doing his thing, just being dominant. I can see he's going to be a problem in the future as well. If he learns to shoot the ball, it's going to be a problem for sure because he can defend. He can get to the basket. He has a plethora of post moves that he showed in the playoffs, which was pretty crazy because we didn't get to see him during the season. But it went pretty much how I thought it was going to go. Kings came out on top. And unfortunately, we're going to have to see what this offseason was like for the Warriors.
Yeah, I thought it was emblematic of what we're going to see from the Warriors. Klay had a bad game. And I was just realizing that, my play-in picks went 1-4, so it wasn't good for me this year. I just realized why Byron said I'm 3-4 on those. But anyway,
yeah.
It was a good game, man. The freaking Kings came out and basically boat raced them boys beginning to end of second quarter. But it was still an entertaining game because we all know that the Warriors can erase any lead.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to see what comes up, but I was very impressed by the Kings.
Like Byron said, 3 out of his 4 picks were right. This was the pick that ruined my 4 sweet parlay. I had the Warriors winning. It just looked like the Warriors weren't really how can I say this?
The Warriors.
Their head wasn't in the game, I guess you can say. Klay Thompson, for him to be having that up and down season, for him to just come out and give an 0 for 10, in 32 minutes of action, I just don't know how that happens. Then you have Jonathan Kuminga coming off the bench, who showed day one of being a starter that he deserves to be in that position. He's a difference maker. He's usually the one that helps Steph Curry get going, helps get a little bit of the pressure off of Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I don't really feel like he could get going in this game. He attempted 16 shots, made 8 of them, shot 50%, but only finished with 22 points. Other than that, the Warriors didn't really have any help. When Draymond Green is your third leading scorer of the game, that's a problem. And it definitely showed on the scoreboard. Like you said, Sabonis, just unstoppable playmaking and everything. And then De'Aaron Fox had a good 3 quarters. Fourth quarter, he kind of cooled down a little bit. Also want to shout out Keon Ellis, FSW product, I believe. Played at FSW a couple years before going to Alabama. Yep. Completely just coming in and putting the clamps on whoever he had to guard. So,
hey, I'm repping him. I'm an FSW alumni. So, hey, shout you out. I didn't know that at all. That's fine.
Yeah, he was tough. Yeah.
Yep, Keon Ellis, FSW.
Yeah.
All right, so next one. Well, all 3 of these topics we're talking about today has to do with basketball. Team USA finalized their roster with the last edition of Kawhi Leonard. So they have the full 12-man roster. We're going to there's the 3 categories: guards, forwards, centers. We're going to go through each of the 3 subcategories and see how we feel they match up at the positions compared to the rest of the teams that are going to be in the Olympics. First, we can start off with the guards. That includes Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, and Drew Holiday. So how do you feel they stack up?
I'll go first, B.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Honestly, man, there's no way you could be down about this mix, but I do feel like it was kind of disrespectful to leave Kyrie Irving off this list. I know you're trying to develop the young guys with Halliburton. I understand why you had to have Anthony Edwards there because, he's, in my opinion, him and Victor Wembanyama are going to battle back and forth for the years to come for the face of the NBA.
Box office.
Right. So I get why. Plus, dude, honestly, he honestly does look like Michael Jordan. I was just like, man, this is internet stuff. Nah, that brother really look like Mike's son. Not Marcus, though, his real son. So, anyways, you can't go wrong. All these guys are all-stars. They're great players. I just think that Kyrie got not selected for this team because of off-the-court stuff. And I thought that was a little bit too much to keep like a talent and a veteran of the game like Kyrie, especially with how competitive he is and the statement he put out on Twitter about it should be about basically competition and how we had to try out for the teams. I totally agree with him on that. Should be about that, but he wasn't selected, and ultimately I have no problem with the rest of the guards on his team.
Byron?
I understand. Like Brodrick was saying, you want to work on the youth in Tyrese Halliburton, and I understand also that Drew Holiday is a champion.
Right.
But then again, Kyrie Irving is also a champion. That the artist that he is, the points that he can bring to a game, the change, the control that he brings to a game, and especially what the USA is trying to do with this, we're trying to come back as, all right, we want to be the dominant team in the USA kind of games. Why are we not bringing the best of the best in those positions? I feel like Jalen Bronson could have been on this list. Like what he's been bringing, I'll say he's more of a veteran superstar fringe kind of player now. I think he should have made this list. Kyrie Irving, those type of guys should have been playing for USA starting or coming off behind Kyrie Irving. I mean, not Kyrie Irving, Curry and Booker kind of play. And I don't feel like we're bringing the best, I would say, I guess, because those are going to be like backup guys at the guard position compared to what we could have.
I just want to start off first by saying there's so many options you could have went for in the NBA. I don't think there's ever going to be a 100% correct list. Odd man out to me, I feel like it's Tyrese Halliburton. I kind of can see the direction they were trying to go with the Drew Holiday pickup. You've seen what was it over the last summer? What was it, the FIBA little qualifying tournament or whatever they had going on? Team USA on the defensive end really didn't have no identity. They were kind of getting pushed and shoved around, bullied. I think they're kind of looking for Drew Holiday to come in and kind of be one of them dogs on the defensive end. Just where ready to get nitty and gritty when it comes down to it. But I definitely do think Tyrese Halliburton could have been replaced by Jalen Brunson, Kyrie Irving. Those are all three of them are good options. Like you said, Anthony Edwards, I feel like just needs to be in there. Especially he was the face of Team USA last summer. So I know they're trying to build that brand, and he's definitely deserving of it. But as far as guard play, I feel pretty confident with this group of guys going in. Bunch of elite scorers, good defenders. And so, yep, I see the direction they're trying to go with this.
If I would have had to give it a letter grade, probably like just a B plus maybe, for me at least.
I respect it. I think I do like the mix of actually now I really look at it. Like I would have preferred if they got more of a distributor here. That's why I think they went with Halliburton for the distributing purposes. Of course, LeBron gonna have the rock a lot, and we're gonna talk about the forwards in a minute. But there's a lot of playmaking at the forwards position. But I think just being in this conglomerate of teams or whatever, that the ball is going to be shared more than these stars are accustomed to, and that's going to be a good thing for all their careers because it's going to teach them, not teach them, but it's going to enhance their ability and their thought processes about deferring and things of that nature. So, yeah, I think like y'all been saying, it's a great guard pool, and really nobody got snubbed here, but it can be argued, in my opinion.
Sure, definitely. I said there's no 100% right answer to me when it comes to the guard pool. Could have had a few other guards in there, and I would have been just as happy.
Yeah.
Moving on to the forwards, got LeBron, King James, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, and Kawhi Leonard running those forward positions. How are we feeling about that group of the guys right there?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Wonderful guys, all battle tested, proven. Maybe the youngest Tatum. Other than that, got Kawhi, LeBron, KD, all champions. All I believe. Besides, maybe is Kawhi a gold medalist? Because I know LeBron and
I don't think Kawhi
KD
was around for their latest gold medal.
Okay, but still, champion still though. He done it by himself with a great team, without a great team. These are all well-proven guys. We got a younger superstar in Jason Tatum, who I believe could possibly do it this year. They're all high-volume guys that pass the ball, play really well, and are high-level thinkers at that position, which is really, really great because they're going to be battling some of the tough European forwards who are always bringing physicality. And these are very physical playing players besides maybe like KD, but he can still go down there and bang with you.
I feel like they could have. I like the picks. The one that I would have probably switched up was Kawhi, because Kawhi is dealing with an injury right now that's going to affect the Clippers in the playoffs. And, he's going to come back this summertime and hopefully be 100% healthy. But honestly, I would have wished for that last spot, they would have went more of a youth-based route, or they would have added another center, personally. Like I would have preferred if they took like a Paulo Banchero, who was the #1 pick, but I believe he's only been on national TV 2 or 3 times since he was drafted. And he was drafted before when he was the #1 pick the year beforehand. Obviously, he's in a
Dang.
small market in Orlando, but he's just not getting enough exposure when he's this great young player. He led his team to, I believe, home court advantage in the playoffs this year. If not, they're the 5th seed. But I think they could have went with Paulo here, gave Kawhi more time to heal up, and it would have gave him a great chance to get exposure as a former #1 pick, a recent former #1 pick, with an opportunity to boost the profile of himself and ultimately his franchise in the NBA, with them being in a small market when we kind of know what the other guys are bringing to the table. But I get why LeBron, KD, this is more than likely their last Olympic Games, and Tatum
Yep.
is the, I'm not going to say he's better than Bron and KD, but it's arguable that he's in that realm right now as far as talent and who he is as a player. And yeah.
This forward subcategory with these 4 men, feel like are probably going to be Team USA's strongest position wise. All 4 of these guys can do it all. They can handle the rock. They can score, make plays on defense. They're very unselfish for the type of amount of scoring that they can do. So I feel like it's definitely going to benefit them come time to play against teams like Germany, you got Serbia, and all that stuff. Just the physicality that they can help bring. Next, we have the centers, which we have 3 of them. We have Anthony
I want to say
Davis.
one more thing real quick. There's going to be no combination where there's not going to at least be 2 out of those 4 guys on the court at all times. At all times. No, my fault. You go
I
ahead
can
and go
see
to the
Book
bigs.
playing
No,
the
you're pretty
3.
sure.
I can see Book
Um,
playing the 3.
Book playing the 3? Oh, yeah, most definitely.
I can see Book playing the 3. But yeah.
For sure. Centers, 3 guys: Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, and the most controversial probably out of them all, Joel Embiid. How are we feeling about those?
You go first.
Real quick, before we move on to the last one, I'm sorry, Byron. I'll just
good.
make it real quick. Better defenders, better rebounders than who they brought last time. They're not bringing that NBA style to the FIBA World Cup where we lost and got dominated by Canada. Here they're showing, look, we need big boys that's going to bang, that's be able to take the punishment, to grab the rebounds, play tough defense, and communicate with veterans on that back end. All these guys aren't young puppies in the league no more. They all got at least 5 years in the league. They all are the defensive leaders of their teams. They're all, well, dang, AD ain't never won a DPOY. That's crazy. Any
Yeah,
of them.
tough.
But I digress. I love the centers that they picked for this roster.
For sure, for sure.
I'm not saying, man. I'm loving it. Like I said, they're all the forefronts of their defense on their respectable teams, bringing that to the USA world of their physical play. I harp on what we talked about in a previous episode. Y'all go watch that about them saying that the Euro League is soft. Y'all don't watch enough. Y'all don't watch enough actual Olympic basketball or enough Olympic sports to say, hey, these guys are actually more physical than us, but they just do it in an actual respectable way, not like how we just want to knock heads off. It's going to be great play over there. I don't know about Embiid with the injury or him even coming back, trying to play these playoffs and then go through the summer and try to play that when he needs to be trying to get healthy. But it's going to be tough. But I think they're going to be able to toughen it out. And if everybody stays healthy, God willing, it's going to be a great squad right there with the bigs.
Yeah. All 3 of these men are defensive anchors for their teams. So that just goes to say, no matter who's in the game out of these 3 for Team USA, they're always going to have that lockdown inside the paint defender who can just change shots, grab rebounds. They all like to play physical, all like to insert their will, and they can all, with defending and grabbing rebounds, they can also all light it up on the score sheet as well, any given night. So that's a plus. And then like Brock said, I think it was Germany and like Daniel Theis and stuff. over here punking out Jaren Jackson and stuff for rebounds and stuff last summer. Definitely not going to happen this year, which is pretty big, especially if they've ever faced France. You got Rudy Gobert and now Victor Wembanyama over there. I feel like we have the bigs to combat anything that gets sent at us big-wise in the Olympics this summer.
Real quick.
And they all can shoot.
Yeah. Before we move on real quick, who would y'all say is the best player on this team?
On this team?
LeBron.
I feel like the player that's going to make the most impact probably be a healthy Joel Embiid. If I'm being honest. Said scores the ball at a high clip. If barring injuries, he probably would have been the second leading scorer in the NBA. Barely shooting threes a game. He was up there in rebounds, also a good assist man as well. And I don't think there's been a game I've watched him where he hasn't had like 2 or 3 blocks a game or, just deterring shots and stuff like that.
I definitely think LeBron is going to be the most impactful. But I have to agree with Chalil. I think Joel Embiid is probably the most talented player at this point on this team with the way he's going to impact both sides of the court. I wouldn't be surprised. I know they're not going to do this. I know LeBron's not going to come off the bench, but I kind of hope that he would, just in the sense of like him resting his leg for potentially his final season. But I can also understand the flip side of that. It's my final Olympics, final season. I'm going to go all out. So, we have to see how it plays out. But, yeah, we got about 4.5 minutes left.
All right, make it quick. Last topic, we got Blake Griffin and his retirement. Just want to know how we feel about that. Just something else. Says he has about a 54% chance of making it into the Hall of Fame. I just want you guys to end your your statements with whether or not you think he'll get into the Hall of Fame or if he's a Hall of Fame caliber type of player.
I'll go first. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I'll do it real quick. Just real quick, some of his accolades of his career: 6-time All-Star, 5-time all-time NBA, Rookie of the Year in 2010, averaged 19 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Over his career, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame player. Great NBA player. Don't think he's going to make the Hall of Fame.
I think he is a Hall of Fame player, especially with all the stats you listed, along with because the Hall of Fame is also about everything you accomplished, not just in the NBA. He also was Big 12 Player of the Year, the College Player of the Year, was #1 overall pick, a McDonald's All-American, along with being, in my opinion, having a top 5 dominant rookie season. And the only thing that really slowed Blake down was injuries. Obviously, the time that we're going to highlight in his career is going to be the time with the Clippers. If Chris Paul would have been healthy, a lot of those runs, I know we say that a lot about Chris Paul's career, but they had a chance to win a championship. But Blake was the best player on those teams. And, for, I think, a 5-year stretch, it was undeniable he was a top at least 5 to 6 player in the league. So I would say he's in the Hall of Fame. Like I would, if it was me voting, I would put it more at a 70% clip, because if D Rose is in the Hall of Fame, I know he won MVP and Blake never won it, but I think Blake deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because overall he has much more accolades. But that's just me.
Blake Griffin, in his prime, human highlight reel. One of the best in-game dunkers of all time to me. Career averages 19 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists in 765 games. Hope him a good retirement. I do think he's a Hall of Famer. Just, the impact he had on the game. He kind of made basketball exciting for me. I could always turn on his game and kind of expect him to dunk on somebody or have some crazy out-of-worldly play. But only thing I think that might hold him back from the Hall of Fame, opposed to, he kind of had the same career as Chauncey Billups, Manu Ginobili, those types of careers, is that they have championships over him. But I do think he ultimately gets in.
With all due respect, because I was thinking Manu Ginobili too, with all due respect, he was a much better player than both of those guys. Like,
for sure.
He's a couple tiers. That's why I say
No,
Chauncey
he
Billups,
was.
Manu
I
Ginobili.
don't know. I
Bro,
don't
He
know
Blake
about
was.
Griffin.
Ginobili. I don't know about
He was. I
Ginobili.
think the
You
only
gotta
thing that got
understand
them in was
the
the
system
championship.
that they obviously Ginobili was in a whole system. Blake was the system. You got two different views. We ain't never really get to see Ginobili as this your team, go out there and get me whatever.
He was a starter one season, and he only put up like 13 a game.
The
So
man
You
is a
still
career.
got Parker holding the ball.
That man is a career six man. This is
I feel
Blake
it.
Griffin.
I feel that.
I respect the shot.
I respect it too. Like I
It's
respect
gonna
it for
cut
sure.
off in less than
I
a
just don't
minute.
feel
But
like
yeah,
I just don't feel like he's a Hall of Famer. Like
I
you
respect.
said, Ginobili, he got 4 to 5 rings. Come on, bro. Like, and
But
he
he
was
wasn't.
very integral point. He wasn't an integral point of those for those championship rings.
Nah, he was definitely a bus rider. Definitely a bus rider.
Crying. We
Definitely
gonna
a
have to talk
bus
about that.
rider.
The Spurs. We gotta do some clips on that.
But
Yeah.
what can we say about Chauncey Billups opposed to Blake Griffin then?
Big Shot Billups. I ain't saying nothing about Big Shot Billups. Hey, we ain't saying nothing about